In Ephrata, Lancaster County, a 15-year-old disappeared from her home in the middle of the day. After 3 decades, detectives are still searching for answers. Tonight, we have the second edition of our WGAL series, Still Searching with Sarah Metz.
In this segment, we highlight cases around the Susquehanna Valley where authorities are still searching for answers, a suspect and a body. In tonight's case, the search continues for all 3 after Adriana Bejarano went missing. News 8's Sarah Metz has the story.
In Colombian culture, a quinceañera is a meaningful milestone.
She had a big 15th birthday party on November 12th.
A special tradition Adriana Bejarano celebrated at Our Lady of Perpetual Help. A freshman at Lancaster Catholic High School, Adriana was described as a good student with several friends.
Everybody said that she was really happy, a really friendly, bubbly person.
An only child, not close with her dad.
She had a biological father who was not really in her life, but provided for her financially.
But extremely close with her mom and extended family.
The family was Colombian, so they sort of stuck to their family or other Colombian families in their circle.
But her quinceañera would be the last celebration Adriana would ever share with her family.
My name is Beth Rivera. I'm a detective with Ephrata Police Department. Police Department received a report from Mariela Escobar.
Mariela is Adriana's mom.
I'm missing my daughter a lot.
The person who she shared a special bond with.
She was not the kind of girl that ran away just because she wanted to.
The family home was on North Charles Street, where Adriana lived with her mother and stepfather, Horacio.
Around 5:30, her mom wakes up, gets ready for work. They talk in the kitchen for a little bit in the morning, and Adriana goes back into her bedroom. And then her dad wakes up. He says that he didn't see her, but he knew that she was in her room.
Horacio told police he left for work around 6:30 and returned around 4 p.m.
He notices that the blinds are still down in the front window, which Adriana knows to lift those blinds every day because there's a plant in that window.
Adriana, off from school, still on Thanksgiving break.
The night before, she had gone with a relative out to Pizza Hut to go get pizza. They brought that back. Her and her mother and this family member worked on a school project.
Police did not tell us that family member's name or why, but they did reveal he asked Adriana for a wake-up call the next morning.
Which that was apparently typical.
Despite a 10-year age gap, police say Adriana was close with this family member. So when his phone never rang, he called her parents.
He calls the house and is asking, is Adriana there? And it's at that point that they realize no one knows where she is. You want to talk to the people that saw her last, find out if she would have any reason to have run away.
Police reports say the house was locked with no signs of forced entry or Adriana.
Investigators looked through the house, looked through her room. The room was slightly out of place.
2 earrings Adriana always wore on the floor and books neatly stacked.
Normally, Adriana's mom said that Adriana would just dump those books out when she wanted to use her backpack. There were some items that were missing, some clothing items that didn't necessarily make sense to her mom as to why they would be taken. The question is, who packed them? Did she pack them or did someone else pack them to make it look like she wanted to run away?
Police had clues to go off of.
2 neighbors did hear a short beep around 7:30 in the morning.
Calls to look into.
There were tips coming in to investigators about girls matching Adriana's description walking to the train station.
But no crime scene.
DNA was not really a thing in 1988. Collecting hair fibers was. So some hairbrushes were collected.
Adriana's case raised suspicions everyone starting as a potential suspect.
Investigators talked with a lot of family from the stepfather's side. They also talked to family from the mother's side. Nobody was necessarily suspicious.
Her parents were ruled out after verifying they both clocked in to work that day.
They did develop some persons of interest. They were not able to obviously make an arrest off of the suspicions they had or the theories they were going on.
Sergeant Robert Ballinger of the Ephrata Police Department is investigating this as a missing persons case. He already has a thick file of interviews.
I would say maybe 5 detectives have looked at it prior to me.
As of 2026, still no arrest or signs of Adriana, who would be 52 years old today. Detective Rivera believes she died the day she was reported missing or shortly after.
It seems like possibly she left her house and then something happened to her outside of her house.
But even after all these years, it's still not official.
I want to officially declare her dead.
Detective Rivera says she's already started the process after years of following up on unidentified bodies.
Whether it's dental records or clothing items, they've been not a match for Adriana. I did send some items that were taken from her bedroom at the time she went missing to the FBI, and they are currently working on trying to extract DNA from those items so that we can put her DNA in the database.
The National Missing and Unidentified Person System, a database Adriana is still not included in after 37 years.
Her mother died. Her father is still alive, but he's very old.
The family member who was supposed to receive a phone call from Adriana that morning, were they cooperative with this investigation?
Initially, he was cooperative, and we have not talked with him since.
Ephrata police say Adriana's case is one of 2 cold cases. They are still searching for answers.
I think one of the possibilities is she left with someone she knew, and then once she left, things turned to something she didn't expect.
If you have any information about the disappearance of Adriana, contact the Ephrata Police Department. And also, if you have any cold cases to highlight for a still searching piece, you can send us an email.